Hello, family. It's Pastor George, ready for another exciting episode of The Wealth Cycle. We're going to be talking about relationships today. Do you know that finance is one of the biggest tensions and strongholds in relationships? Also, did you know that in divorce, finance is often considered the number one reason? And then, you know, number two is probably communication. But you know what? It's probably communication about finances that's why that's the issue. But also there's another reason that I think is even more startling. There are less people getting married today. And I think one of the reasons why is they say, you know what? I got to get my financial house in order before I do things. There'd be a lot less people coming in and saying, hey, what's going on here? What's going there? If we had our financial house in order. As you know, we want to make sure you're on the right level in your area of finances. As you know, there are 5 levels. One is struggling and sinking. That's the inability to pay your current bills. The second level is steady. You have just enough to pay your bills. Then the next level is something called solid. That's where you're doing pretty good. You know, putting your 401k, everything like that. And then the next level, surplus, extra money. And the highest level is service. That's where you're doing what God put you on this earth to do. I've often tried to figure out why if someone was by themselves, how when they come together, they don't go up another level. But guess what? We're going to explore how to do that today in the Wealth Cycle. Are you ready? Ready, set, grow.
Hey family, give me a high five. I bet you there's 5 people that you can think of that you can share this with. We want to make it easy for you to ask a question. Just put it right there in the chat. We may not be able to answer all the questions, but we'll do our very best.
Hey family, we're back and I'm already excited. Just to let you know, I'm already sporting my shirt.
Yeah.
Champion couples. I have here with me today, I have Jimmy Fisher, our praise and worship leader. And then also, Jimmy, I don't know if you know, everybody thinks we're best friends because on Sunday,
Right.
He always starts us off in praise and worship, and I come up with prayer. And then one day I was walking at Costco and someone asked me, they said, hey, where's Jimmy? And I was like, oh, we aren't together all the time, but we're together today sitting at the table. Right. And with us, we have his lovely wife, Shawyne, and we want to give her a hand. Shout her out in the chat. How are you doing, Shawyne?
I'm great.
Good.
Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here. Mm-hmm. So one of the things you guys, in my intro, you heard me talk about that, you know, that you always hear like divorce rates. You always hear that like there's like a 50% divorce rate. But then also, you know, it's kind of startling what I think now is what people are saying is that I'm running into is people are saying, I don't want to get married. Or I actually went to a young adult event. And somebody said, are you dating her? He goes, oh no, I can't date her. She has $150,000 in student loan debt. I said, oh, y'all are dating on student loan debt now. Okay, like people are attracted based on that. I thought it was geographics, you know, when gas went a certain price.
Right.
But if you look at that in relationships, there has to be something that makes relationships where people have certain ideas, certain things where they go into them to where they can be successful. So we want to talk about successful relationships. Right. So first of all, first question is, how long have you guys been married?
33 years.
33 consecutive years?
Consecutive
years. Okay, got you. You guys have me beat. Okay. I'm 19 consecutive years, but you got to put that consecutive part in because you're doing that. What would you say is one element or something that makes your relationship or that are successful and that's good for marriages to be successful?
Well, I would say, first of all, don't get married because you ain't got no money, and don't get married because you got money. So finances is very, very important, but you need to have an understanding that God has brought you two together for His purpose. Right. And that purpose obviously goes way beyond money. So I would say the first thing is finding a person who has a call on their life, and that when you guys have come together and get to really know each other and feel that burden that God is giving both of you to get married, it is for a purpose. It's not just this, I know that we live in this society of I want to get married so this person can help me out, can get me more followers, could, you know, whatever they can do, what they can do for me. But that is antithetical to a godly marriage. That will kill a godly marriage. that you are marrying this person for a purpose that God has for you. And when you guys come together, he's going to use you for that purpose.
Right. But it's good to have a purpose,
Yeah.
because one of the things that you see people doing is some people just want to get married. You see that is one of the biggest,
Yeah.
you see that's one of the biggest red flags.
Right.
So one of the things is also, and that I wrote a chapter, it's called Financial Intimacy. So what happens is we have to understand about each other before we get in, before we say I do. So also I'll put this up on the screen, but financial intimacy, clearly defined, is the freedom to openly and honestly and safely express your financial beliefs, your fears, and your expectations without the fear or ridicule.
Right.
That's good.
I've noticed that I interviewed people before I got married, and I said, hey, I know successful couples, there was a couple things that they had. Number one is that they were good friends first. They had talked, they had a relationship where they liked being around the person.
Right.
So a lot of times you guys just know, just cutting right across the field, men are visual. Some people just like, I like the way she looked, but I really like being around, like this way. Or women may say, I like the way he looked or what he had or I didn't do. But we want to, number one, be good friends. Two is, and we're going to go into finances in a moment, is they understand how the relationship works. So everyone, I'm going to start asking them, like, they kind of understand, like, hey, Shawnee likes this. This is certain things, or I like this. Like, for example, my wife likes holidays. So I know I have to do something on holidays, and in doing things. And then also what else we like? We like saving money. So I say, okay, well, let's look at ways we can do that. So just things they like to. And then number three is when I say they don't like to go to bed mad, it's also in the book. It's not they don't like to go to bed mad. They just learn how to manage conflict.
Right.
So we're going to go into something called circuit breakers, and I'm going to ask you those direct questions. But let's first just talk about a little bit about financial intimacy. So you guys, in your relationship, you guys talk openly about financial things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. So everybody, I'm going to find out. Watch this. Who manages the money?
I do.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
I consider it this. The Bible talks about when Joseph was sold into slavery and Potiphar, bought Joseph. So God blessed the house because Joseph was there. Right. And the Bible says that Potiphar didn't know what was in his house because Joseph was taking care of it.
Right.
And so Shawnee's my Potiphar.
Right.
That she takes care of it. I just know I'm blessed. If you want to be blessed, find you a Joseph.
Type all in the chat. But this is something, I have 10 elements of a financially successful marriage. And one of them is that someone has to be a financial manager.
Absolutely.
If you guys want to know all that failed, there's nobody managing and there's no talking. So that you find the person who has that gift or skill. Now, without me going through that, by the way, that was number 4, but without me getting into it, he recognizes that.
Right.
He isn't, you see what he just said, so I don't have to ask him like, you aren't mad about it, he ain't bitter about it.
Let me say this and go ahead.
In the beginning, it was like he saw the gift that I had to manage money. Right. And as the head of our home, he said, I'm giving you this position, per se, because it was like that was the smart thing to do.
Yeah. And it was smart because we had went through our challenge. Now, Shawnee and I got married. I was 20 years old. Shawnee was 22. So I was still a junior in college, and she had just graduated. So we had no money. Let's just set that out. We had no money. We had student loans. That was our, that was our thing. So you're talking about
that's a debt. That's a debt.
You're talking about
That's a negative. That's a
we
negative.
had major. So we could be intimate because we had no money to even talk about.
Right.
What God showed us then was whatever we get, we're going to make it together.
Right.
And that was a blessing. Now we went back and forth trying to, okay, well, you do this and you do that. And the way that we grew up in terms of, how my parents did money, how her parents did money and stuff like that. And we had some up and downs and some intense fellowship about it. But what I recognized was her real passion to be financially independent.
Right.
And mine was just, pay bills, all that kind of stuff. I didn't really have that emotional attachment to money the way that she did. And so I did do something. I said, okay, listen, I'm going to focus on making money.
Okay.
I want you to focus on managing money.
This is good.
So that helped us because now my focus was always, what can I do to make more? And she was, what can I do to save? You know, and once we got that going, we were off to the races.
Gotcha. So do you guys see that? You guys, so I'm going to paraphrase. You knew your roles.
Right.
You said, I'm going to go out and hunt. Then you go, I'm going to chop it up. I'm just going to put it nice. I'm going to freeze this over here. I'm going to put this over there and then do that. You know your roles. And then without you getting onto it, then you, when he was doing the going out, you were encouraging him. You were doing all the things in that area. And then another thing about knowing roles, I'm sorry to give out this ain't confidential, but like when I asked him, you know, when I talked to him about, you know, I'm a financial advisor, when I asked him a question, I said, hey, Jimmy, let's talk about your retirement. And he goes, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. And he picked up his phone and we're going to call Shawyne. I was like, oh, okay, that's what we're going to do. Okay, so we I was like, okay, but first he goes, okay, let's come down to my office and close the door. Okay, do, you know, and that's how you know the roles.
Right.
So everybody, we always go through something and we're talking about being financially successful. So rule number one, and when we're doing this, I call it mine, yours, ours, and his. So what that means is when you get married, and this is funny, when I did the couples thing, we married, so people always say mine. You know when your kids are born, they're like, mine. They learn how to do that. Yeah. True story. I'm sitting there and we do the financial portion. I'm sitting there, Leon Brooks is sitting there, we're all sitting there. This guy stands up at Faithful Central Bible Church and says this, I own a business and I want to know how I can grow my business, and my wife has student loans, and how do we do this? And then we just started laughing. And I said, and I asked Miss Brooks if she wanted to register me. I said, brother, you have student loans. Y'all got student loans.
Right.
She don't got no student loan. Are y'all married? He goes, yeah. I said, and also, you ain't got no business. Ours got a business. Yeah. Because I know this, you know this without saying, and we're gonna get into business and everything. We can never perform, we can never do what we could do without our wives.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
There's no way I could travel. There's no way I could do there's nothing I could do without that support and working. So right now we decide, change your language completely from this is mine he didn't make no money.
Right.
We made the money and then we managed it.
Right.
Because we're a team, and then we can sit down and then we can go over that together. And then also want to put in, you see how it's mine, then the last one is, and also it's his. So also in putting God first. Yeah. It's not like, hey, let's go through all our bills and at the end, let's see if we're going to put God in, and then I'll let you comment on that. Everyone, that's called tipping. You know what I mean? Like you say, you pay all your bills, and you say, you know what? Jimmy went ahead and praised the Lord. Right. You know, Bishop had a good sermon. Let me go ahead. Here go $20. That's called tipping.
Right.
So how do you put in, when you're doing the finance, I'm sorry, I have to ask her now.
Right.
See, Jimmy, you ain't since you're doing it, is that in putting God in the I'm going to say the 30.
Well, first of all, we do tithes and we do offering. So we do it by percentages. At one point in our life, it was 12%. At one point, it was 20%. Right now, it's like at 15%. Right. So tithes is 10, 5% is our offering. And that's first off the top. As soon as the money comes in, that comes out first. Right. And then everything else comes out. Right. Because I believe the word of God when he said, he's going to provide for us. Right. And I've done that. I've said, God, I've done this, this, and this. I'm expecting you to do this. Right. And God has always come through. Always. Never fail.
Right. And in investments, you can never say something's guaranteed and everything like this. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, I'm going to say it in a regular, can come on in here. God is guaranteed.
He's guaranteed.
He has supplied all of our needs. You have seen, I'm going to say us, I'm saying church corporately watching Bishop get up when we were in the forum and watching that happen and watching this happen and watching us do things and watching ministry, you know, just all the time from the water in Mississippi, just saying, what you do is you put your knees before God.
Exactly.
And he does it. But hold on, everybody. But you got to be a good steward.
Exactly.
You got to be a good steward over 4 areas of your life. The first is time. There's 86,400 seconds in a day. The second is God gave you a talent or a skill. We're going to get into that. Gave you a talent or skill. Third is you got a body. A temple. That's temple. Time, talent, temple. The fourth is treasure, how you manage what God has blessed you with, and then how you're doing that. Hey, so then that's God. Then also after doing that, you operate what's called a family budget. So I'm going to put up pin in that one and go back to that one. That's number 4 is that, because I'm going to do 5 of them this time, then we'll see that one. Operate a family budget. I just want to say this about a budget. Is that you guys obviously have a budget.
Yeah.
And this is also, they are marriage mentors. So I'm going to ask you now my question is what you tell other people.
Yeah.
So when newly married people, now you guys have been doing this for 33, you know what they told me? Consecutive years. They've been for 33 consecutive years. That me and my wife had circuit breakers. So like circuit breakers are this. If you spend more than, let's say, I'm gonna say we start off at 100. If you spend more than $100, somebody got to get a call.
Yeah.
You know, like in doing that. So you guys want to start off of that. Now I want to say something. I've been married 20 years, so now I just kind of call my wife if I'm going to buy another house or I'm going to buy a property. like we ain't really now, because when I come back across because we know our patterns.
Right.
What are some things you tell when you're marriage mentors that you're telling people in the area about just their finances that are just in that area?
For me, what I like to tell couples is be on one accord with your finances, because if somebody's a spender and somebody's a saver, you guys better come together and work that out.
Right.
Because the worst thing to be is you save everything and never spend it, and then somebody's going to feel like they going in to sneak to get the money.
Right.
Because they feel like I work hard, I need to get what I want. And vice versa. So just be on one accord. And that's what I tell the people, to be on one accord with their money and figure out their plan. Because without a plan, you're going to fail.
Next one we're going to go to plan, right? So in doing that, but I got to come back to you on that about when you were saying they're all on one accord. Right. One of my favorite scriptures in the Bible, also we'll put this on the screen, is Amos 3:3. It says, "Do 2 walk together unless they agree to do so?" You have to walk together. Right. You guys know, so there's something that we always do, and I always ask people whenever they're getting married, I say, if you have money, there's only 3 things you can do with it. Spend it, lend it, or own something. Right. Okay? So right now, if you have $20, there's somebody like this. Oh, this is my last $20. I'm going to save it. Then somebody like, this is my last $20. Let's roll. We going down to 7-Eleven or something. I always have to mention places that have like high price, like places. Right. You know, when I walk into places, my skin break out. Right. Yeah. And I have to call their names out. I'm like, wow, $3 for a Reese's Pieces peanut butter cup. Right. I'm like, I have to call everything out. I'm like, because I'm like, so that I have to do that later on. We'll talk about that with kids. Right. But one of the things is not only having that, but they got to agree. Right. And when you agree, that's how you guys, how you do that. And as marriage mentors, that's a blessing.
Yeah, and one of the things I would say in terms of agreeing, that's something that you really have to work out, but you also, like I was saying before, in terms of having a vision for your marriage. I want Shawyne to say ours, but on the financial side, you have to kind of come to that agreement. It is not just something like, the saver is most important or the spender is most important. You have to find out what is important, because this is the thing. This is your family. Right. This is just the 2 of you, and you should have some levels, just like the 5 levels you were saying. If you struggling and sinking, what you doing talking about?
Why you have to look at the stuff you can't afford. You shouldn't even be down there.
So you need to have the understanding and the truth. Babe, we struggling and sinking right now. We can't go here or there. Right. I understand you want to buy, this, and you're saying this for our future. Right. But we struggling and sinking today. Right. That kind of thing. So you have to have that truth talk about where you are, and then having that not just a vision for yourself, but a godly vision. Because you said it at the end, the final level was service. Right. See, the world final level ain't service. Right. Final level is Dubai. Right. And and I own about 4 or 5 houses, and I'm taking trips every time. I vacation 200 days out of the year. That's their final thing. But our final is service, because God has given us this money and has blessed us to be a blessing to somebody else. Right. And you have to, as a couple, understand that, hey, if we are going to have a godly marriage, He wants to do something through us. Now, it may not always be finances. It may be God has blessed us to mentor another couple, and help them through rearing their children, because we had, some, and we had some issues with ours, and you have issues with yours. And so we're going to help you with yours. That could be the service that God is calling you to do and calling you to be. And so understanding that it's an all-around view of your marriage and your relationship, and the finances, of course, is one of the most important things, and then having a vision for that.
Exactly. And there's so many people that I was trying to show them when they're going through a difficult time. This is their testimony part, so they can come back later on and be able to bless somebody else. Because as they go up a level, they got to reach back and grab somebody else that has gone through that exact same situation. Number 4, and I'm totally putting this on Shawnee on this one. Number 4 is that you want to have team goals. If you're in a relationship and you're married, you want to make sure that everybody's walking on the same accord.
Right.
So you guys have team goals, okay?
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, right now we've been on our team goal is to be debt free.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this journey has been a 5-year journey, and our goal is to be debt free by 2023.
Right. Okay.
So we're almost there. We only have 2 bills left. And that's 2 homes we own.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's going to be paid off by 2023. How? Being good stewards and God.
Right. So I want to talk about that, and then.
But I want her to tell us we developed a kind of like a mantra that we've said.
A mission statement.
A mission statement.
We have a
mission
family mission statement.
Shawnee has.
Everybody, we have a mission statement, and then we're gonna talk about the debt.
Okay. Our family mission statement is to be in love, successfully managing wealth, healthy, skinny, and living life till we die in our right minds.
Okay, gotcha. So as you guys know, we're pastors. We're gonna break that apart. So we're gonna start with the first one, and you're saying that about
we want to be in love.
We want to be in love. So what does that mean to you guys when saying love?
That we like each other.
Yeah.
That we like to spend time with each other.
First of all, I'm feeling some kind of way because you got us across the table.
I do.
Each other anyway.
So
I ain't used to being this far from a woman, right?
Right.
But I'm just gonna let that slide.
Okay, right.
But we as we're married young and things like that. I wanted to be in love, man. Right. I want public display of affection. I want us to really like each other and see that throughout the years. And it's been up and down in journey, and God has blessed us. Right. But it became a goal for us because when we first got married, we just thought, it was, of course, we love each other. Right. And then when you get married, you understand that the world comes in and there's some work to do. And if that is not a goal, it will dissipate. And so that made one of our goals. Right.
I want to make sure everyone that's listening from a financial background thing that's actually a financial goal, because if you look at it, people getting along and doing that is really important, because there's people you see later on that's that 2 walking together is that you want to be in love and you want to do certain things. Like I think I brought up Costco one time, but whenever I go to Costco, I just bring my wife back flowers. And the reason why I do that just because I love her and I want to do that. But what I'm noticing now is that last time, man, this kid pushed me aside and said, I'm bringing back mommy some flowers. I was like, no. Now my son is doing it right now. I'm paying the bill and everything. But the reason why also is it's showing them how a black man is loving a black color, but also that it's showing a loving wife is this. Right. You see right now, I don't think there's a lot of images of married couples in love over long periods of time, over like 20, 30 years. And it's good, and also that you're an example, and in showing that to not only your children, but actually the world, and showing that. And if you notice during the year, and then you guys can comment on it as well, during the year is that you see on Father's Day and on Mother's Day, we want to, as I get up and I talk about that because I'm like, I want to show what a father is and show what a married couple is. So also think a little bit about in your life about being an example. So you want to be that and set that as a goal. Setting a goal as to love your wife, as it says in Ephesians. And then you're saying as to love your husband and be loving, and then have that. Then the second is that, what did you mean by your second aspect? That is by being
successfully managing wealth. Because I know debt-free is not the goal, because if you have multiple things, there's some good debt, But for me, that's what it used to be, debt free, but it's like, no, that's not the goal. The goal is to successfully manage wealth, because wealth comes in all forms and more than just finances.
Right.
So we want to successfully manage that.
Good. And I just want to comment on that. So, you guys, wealth comes in a couple of different areas that we want to look at, and then handle that. Number one is there's income.
Right.
That's wealth. Okay, that's one. The second income is that you have investments,
right?
The stocks, bonds, mutual funds, things like that.
Right.
Things. I'm sorry, I'll talk to Shawnee now. All right. Anyway, all right, gotcha. All right.
I ain't
Then part B.
I
I like doing that. Okay. Also, you also have that exact same with real estate. So these things that have to be talked about and everything like that. And then I want to even bring up a little bit later on. I'd like for us to talk about this with kids, because what we'll do is we'll start teaching that. But as you guys are meeting and talking about that, you have a goal in building wealth. And then also the doing good. I call it do good. Get out of debt, GOOD.
Right.
So that is, we'll get a little deeper in that a little bit later, because one of the reasons why is that is the most freeing thing.
Yeah.
When you don't owe people,
Absolutely.
I would say to close your eyes for a minute, but imagine what it's like not owing people, and then we'll talk about that. All right. Then your next part of your mission statement was, and we'll do this quickly, the be skinny part.
Healthy.
Okay, gotcha.
We want to be healthy, because without health, you can't manage wealth, you can't be in love, you can't do a lot of this stuff because you're focused on trying to be healthy. So we want to be healthy.
Gotcha.
And
can I jump in here about the health and doing
sure,
that?
go ahead.
You guys, your health is your wealth.
Right,
You know what
exactly.
I mean? Like
Yeah.
Is every day you're blessed with, and just so you guys know, I know some people have a lot of money and they have very poor health.
And they wish
would
they had the
trade
health.
that money in a minute.
Right.
Exactly.
No, seriously, we told you right now, we'll give you $1 million, but you have to die tomorrow.
Right.
Nobody would take it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you just wouldn't do it. You want to have them walking together. And this is the part that's about what we're talking about now. We're doing it together.
Right.
So I want to come back to back to health with you and come back to health with you on this. But I'm saying doing it together is like me and my wife during the pandemic. We got a Peloton bike. We started saying then we started doing it together. Then she started beating me so bad, Jimmy. I said, you go on ahead of me now. You're doing so much better. But let's say have health goals.
Right.
So I'm assuming you have areas of health goals or different things like that.
Yeah, we have health goals. We have health competitions.
Right.
We have family biggest losers.
Who's winning?
Well, let me just say this. We went on a vacation recently for our 33rd anniversary, and I ate everything that I could think of. So I'm losing currently right now, but I'm gonna get back on it. This hand of God, I'm gonna get back on it. But so I'm kind of losing right now
because I've never won. My wife won. So in doing that, but everybody, our goal is that you have health.
Right.
And so have a mission statement, have health goals, and in doing it. And then the last aspect was.
Oh, and can I mention something else about the health goals? I'm really an advocate for being healthy because I want to age well. And if you want to age well in your 40s, you had to have done something in your 30s. If you want to age well in your 50s, you have to do something in your 40s. So however old you are is manifested by what you did the previous decade or not did in the previous decade. Right. So when people tell me physically, my body let me down, my natural response is, you let your body down.
Right.
Yeah.
So same thing with that. So
and God has blessed you.
Right.
Hey, so the last aspect of your mission is that you guys want to live until you live life until you die.
Live life till we die. I want to be, if I die, I want to be, I say this, walking down the street, doing it, not fall over because I'm dead. But Jimmy said, Shawnee, don't do that to people. But, it's just like, I want to live life. I don't want to be bed bound. I don't want to be, debilitated. I want to live life. Still
having experiences, going places and stuff. And obviously with our children, our, future grandchildren and stuff like that, having those still life things, God still being able to use us wherever we are. You know what I mean?
Right.
And in every stage and every age. So
Right.
That's it.
So God using you, and also
Right.
when they say
Absolutely.
living life, and then also want to say this financially.
Right.
Did you say about having experiences?
Yeah.
I invest so much in experience. I want my kids to have the best experience. I want my wife to have best experiences and doing it. And there's so many ways of doing that and saving money. We've shot whole videos on like how I went to Hawaii this summer with my kids, and I spent about 20% of what people would have spent. The guy next to me, they even told me that from frequent flyer miles. And I'm just letting you know one little thing that I did is I flew with all the food. Like I I went to Costco, and then we went down to Little Pearl Harbor, and I was like, Gracie, before you get out the van, here's your lunch, here's your lunch, here's your lunch. And I said, y'all want some water? I could have sold on the bus and made money on the trip. But my point is, we're not telling you not to live life.
Right.
We're just telling you to live it on a budget so you can do it more. And I told my kids, I said, hey, y'all, we can bring all this food with us. We can do this, or we can go there for 2 days, or we can go there for a week and do it economically. But they had a great experience, so that we want to do that. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys, we're almost out of time this episode, but I want you to bring you guys back for another episode. But also I got to give you guys number 5. Number 5 is that you agree to timelines. So what you want to do, family, is you want to have what's called a short, medium, and long-term goals. I want to talk about what they said today. It's like if they're saying, I want to be debt-free, they're going to say, did you see her say in 2023? Okay, so then that was a timeline. That means you have to be intentional and there's expectations set. Okay, then when they said this about everything that they're doing, they're how they're going to do it. So you want to have short, medium, and long-term goals. And when you guys are sitting down with your family and you guys are having a conversation, a kitchen table conversation like this, you're saying, hey, let's pay off our debt, but then, hey, let's plan a trip. They just went on their trip for 33 consecutive years, they told me. They went on a trip. So that trip they talked about prior to them going, I'm assuming, and they already had the financial means. You guys, that's how you build, and that's how you have a champion couple. Join us on our next episode, and we're going to have even more information. We're going to talk a little bit about kids, and then also we're going to talk about doing business and doing business together. And we do it to glorify God. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, give Jimmy and give Shawnee a hand in the chat, and we'll see you on our next episode.
Hey family, give me a high five. I bet you there's 5 people that you can think of that you can share this with. We want to make it easy for you to ask a question. Just put it right there in the chat. We may not be able to answer all the questions, but we'll do our very best.